We offer humanity's greatest minds more time to fulfill their potential. Designed to offer you the very best of the human experience. It's alive, an empty vessel.
What's that?
Something to stop your heart.
What?
It's something to stop your heart.
The story opens high above New York City. In a luxurious penthouse lived Damien Hale, a man whose name was synonymous with wealth and power. Damien had built his business empire with his own hands, so massive that even the biggest corporations couldn't stand beside it. He wasn't just rich, he was a living legend, a king who wrote his own destiny. But blinded by pride, he neglected his family, and the price was heavy. His only daughter drifted away from him, rejecting his fortune and choosing to live as a simple social worker. Damien never looked back in life until life finally cornered him. Now standing at the edge of old age, Damien was battling terminal cancer, a disease slowly eating him alive from the inside. For the first time, his wealth felt useless. Even a casual joke calling him old pierced his ego like a blade. Damien Hale was not the kind of man who accepted death peacefully. He swore to defeat aging and illness at any cost. And when desire is strong enough, a path always appears. Damien found one in the form of a business card from Phoenix Biogenic Labs. It read, "We can help you," with a single phone number printed below. Damien visited the lab and met Dr. Albright, the owner of Phoenix Biogenic Labs and a brilliant scientist. Albright introduced him to a revolutionary technology called shedding. This process could extract a person's consciousness, memories, identity, everything, and transfer it into a new, young, healthy body. Damien was stunned when he asked how many people had undergone this procedure. Albright replied that fewer than a dozen had, because this technology was reserved for the truly exceptional. Albright then revealed the body prepared for Damien, young, strong, flawless. It wasn't a real human body, but a genetically engineered vessel, an empty shell designed to receive Damien's consciousness. It felt like science fiction. Albright explained that only individuals whose deaths would be a loss to humanity deserved a second life. Names like Edison, Einstein, Steve Jobs. Damien could hardly believe what he was hearing. Then came the price, $250 million. But money wasn't the biggest cost. For the world, Damien Hale had to die. His identity, wealth, and past life would be erased forever, and he would live under a new name. Damien didn't have much time left anyway. Life was slipping through his fingers. Though skeptical, he researched shedding online and found little information, except interviews by neurologist Dr. Francis Janssen, who claimed death was just another disease. As Damien watched one such interview, his condition suddenly worsened. He collapsed and was rushed to the hospital just in time. That was when he realized death could come any second. From his hospital bed, Damien called Albright and agreed to the procedure. Albright reminded him one last time that once this began, there was no going back. Damien accepted. Everything was arranged, including Damien's fake death. Before disappearing, Damien visited his daughter Claire one final time. He never told her about his cancer. He tried to give her his wealth, but she rejected it, and him. The next day, Damien traveled to New Orleans, where he met his only friend and business partner, Martin, at a restaurant. Albright's team had prepared everything. Damien drank coffee laced with a substance that caused a severe allergic reaction. He collapsed, gasping for air, as an ambulance rushed him to a secret lab. Damien was still conscious when he was placed inside the shedding machine with the empty body beside him. Before starting, Albright asked if Damien carried any metal objects, since the machine was magnet-based. Damien said no. The process began, blinding lights, spinning visions, then darkness. When Damien opened his eyes, a doctor stood before him and asked his name.
What's your name?
Damien.
Panic set in, but the doctor walked away. Then Damien looked at his hands, young hands, strong hands. The procedure had worked. His old body lay dead beside him. To the world, Damien Hale was gone, but adjusting wasn't easy. His mind struggled to sync with the new body. He had trouble walking and speaking, and he suffered seizures and hallucinations. Albright explained these were side effects and handed him red pills, warning him to take them daily for a full year. Damien Hale had cheated death, but at a cost he hadn't yet fully understood. Albright explained that the pills were absolutely necessary to suppress the side effects of the shedding process. The seizures and hallucinations weren't glitches, they were consequences. If Damien stopped taking the medication, the symptoms would escalate: unbearable headaches, vomiting, and eventually death. After that warning, Albright began Damien's physical training. Slowly, Damien started feeling the power of his new body. For the first time in years, he could breathe freely. He laughed, he ran, his face glowing with childlike joy, as if life itself had been handed back to him. It felt like he had discovered the greatest treasure imaginable. Once Damien's mind and body finally synced, Albright gave him a new identity. His name was now Edward Kidner, a man whose parents and sister had died died in a tragic accident, leaving him completely alone in the world. Albright handed him a week's supply of pills and moved him into a luxurious new house. Damien, now Edward, fully immersed himself in this new life. He indulged in everything he had denied himself before. One morning, he played basketball with his neighbors. Stunned by his own speed and agility, he completely outplayed everyone on the court. After the game, one of the players introduced himself as Anton, a neighbor who lived nearby. The two quickly bonded. Anton believed deeply in fate and always wore a coin necklace he considered lucky. When Anton mentioned he had come to the city to enjoy life, Damien made him his partner. Together, they dove headfirst into pleasure, excess, and youth. Damien embraced every moment of his second chance. But one day, Damien forgot to take his pill. Without warning, a seizure hit, a crushing headache followed, and disturbing images flooded his mind. Military missions, an unfamiliar woman, a sick child, a farmhouse, and a water tower painted like a pumpkin. These visions felt terrifyingly real, not like hallucinations, but like memories. He collapsed in the bathroom, trembling, and barely managed to take his medication. Slowly, his body stabilized. The next morning, he rushed to Albright's office and described everything. The woman, the sick child, the pumpkin-painted water tower. He admitted that the child had looked at him with such hope that it felt as if she were his own daughter. Albright dismissed it all as minor side effects. He said the new body and brain were confusing Damien's mind, twisting fragments of old memories. Maybe he had seen that tower as a child. Maybe he had once noticed that Mexican woman somewhere and felt drawn to her. His brain was simply stitching random impressions together. Albright told him not to worry, none of it meant anything. As long as he kept taking the pills, everything would remain stable. Then Damien froze. "How do you know the woman was Mexican?" he asked quietly. "I never told you that." For a brief moment, Albright looked uncomfortable. He brushed it off and quickly handed Damien a plane ticket, suggesting he take a vacation to clear his head and form new memories. He warned him again, never skip the medication. Damien didn't argue. He took the ticket and left, but the images refused to fade. Unable to let it go, Damien searched online for pumpkin water tower. To his shock, he found one exactly like the one from his visions. It was real and located in St. Louis. That was the moment he knew Albright was hiding something. Damien retrieved emergency cash he had hidden in a cemetery long ago and prepared to travel. Albright's men followed him like shadows. At the airport, Damien seized his chance. Instead of flying to Hawaii, he bought a ticket to St. Louis. When he arrived, he went straight to the pumpkin-painted water tower from his visions. Nearby stood a farmhouse identical to the one in his memories. He approached and knocked. The door was already open. Inside, he found a photograph of the woman, medical bills, and a picture of the sick child, the same child who had called him dad. As he moved further inside, Damien came across another photograph that made his knees buckle. It was a picture of the man whose body he now occupied. The truth hit him all at once. That woman was the man's wife, that child was his daughter, and the body Damien had been placed into was never lab created at all. It belonged to a real person, and Albright had lied about everything. The visions Damien had been seeing weren't hallucinations at all. They were real memories. Memories that belonged to the man whose body he now occupied. As Damien looked around the farmhouse, he found more photographs and documents. That's when the truth hit him. The man was a retired soldier. Guilt washed over Damien. He wanted a second chance at life, but not at the cost of stealing someone else's. As he stood there, a woman suddenly appeared behind him, pointing a gun at his back. She thought he was a thief. She warned him to leave immediately, saying she had already spent the insurance money to treat her daughter and had nothing left. When Damien slowly turned around, the woman froze. Her face collapsed in shock. She whispered, "Mark," then broke down crying and threw herself into his arms. Her name was Meline, the wife of Mark, the man whose body Damien was now living in. Meline couldn't believe her eyes. She had mourned her husband, believing he was dead. Now he was standing right in front of her. Damien wanted to tell her the truth, that he wasn't Mark, but before he could speak, he noticed shadows moving outside the window. A loud knock followed. Instantly, Damien knew Albright's men had found him. He grabbed Meline's gun and moved toward the door. When he opened it, one of Albright's agents rushed him. Damien aimed the weapon, but the man twisted his arm and overpowered him. At the same time, another man grabbed Meline and knocked her unconscious. That's when Damien saw the face that hurt the most. The friend he trusted, the man who had been at his side the entire time. Anton wasn't a friend at all. He was Albright's inside man, spying on Damien from the very beginning. Furious, Damien demanded answers. He had been told the body was lab-made, artificial, empty. But this was a real man, a real family. Why destroy Mark's life? Anton coldly explained that Mark had agreed to everything. His daughter was terminally ill, and he needed money fast, so he sold himself. After Mark was gone, Albright arranged insurance payouts for Meline, money that saved their daughter's life. Meline was never told the truth. She was told Mark had drowned. Damien was shaken to his core, but now Meline had seen her husband alive. That made her a liability. Anton revealed the real plan. Meline and her daughter were going to be killed. Damien begged him to stop, to let them go, but Anton had direct orders. Albright had given him full clearance. If Damien interfered, he would die too. What Albright failed to consider was one crucial mistake. He had placed Damien inside the body of a trained soldier, and along with Mark's memories, his combat instincts and skills were still alive. In a brutal fight, Damien used those instincts to take down Albright's men one by one. Anton was badly burned in the chaos, and Damien escaped with Meline. Meline still believed Damien was Mark. Confused and emotional, she demanded answers. Who were those men, and where had he been all this time? Damien wanted to tell her the truth, but this wasn't the moment. Right now, only their safety mattered. He lied, saying he had made a deal for money to save their daughter, but things had gone wrong, and now they were being hunted. They needed to disappear. Meline believed him. They drove straight to Anna's school. While Meline went inside, Damien checked her phone. There was a video from Anna's birthday. He watched Mark laughing, holding his daughter, loving her completely. Anna called her father hero. Damien's chest tightened. He hated himself. A happy family had been destroyed because of him. Moments later, Meline returned with Anna. The little girl ran straight into Damien's arms, hugging him tightly, believing her father was back. Damien felt his heart break. He thought of his own daughter, Claire. In that moment, he made a promise to protect Meline and Anna at all costs. They hid in a motel. Damien was desperate. There was no clear escape. Meline and Anna wanted to talk, but Damien stayed distant, afraid the truth would slip out. Then another problem surfaced. His red pills, the medication keeping him alive, were gone. He searched online for anything related to the shedding medication. Nothing. No formula, no drug name. But once again, he came across videos of the famous neurologist Dr. Francis Janssen, the man who believed death was a disease and consciousness could be transferred into new bodies. This time, Damien learned something new. Francis Janssen was dead. As Damien watched the video closely, he noticed something strange. Janssen repeatedly tapped his glasses with his fingernail while speaking. Damien froze. He had seen Albright do the exact same thing. Then he saw it. In the background of the video, sitting beside Janssen, was Albright himself. The truth finally snapped into place. Francis Janssen hadn't died. He had transferred his consciousness into Albright's body. Albright was Francis. Digging deeper, Damien discovered that Francis's wife was still alive, living in a nursing home. If anyone could help him, it would be her. She might know about the medication. The next morning, Damien took Meline and Anna to New Orleans. He left them in the car and entered the nursing home alone. Inside the woman's room, he searched, hoping to find the red pills, but instead he discovered the final blow. Francis's wife was mentally unstable. She couldn't recognize him. She couldn't answer his questions. Damien walked out with nothing, and now, time was running out. Damien finally understood that playing fair wouldn't get him anywhere. If the straight path was blocked, he would take the crooked one. At gunpoint, he forced the nursing home staff to call Francis and summon him there. Francis loved his wife more than anything, so the moment he arrived at her room, panicked and confused, Damien pressed the gun to his chest. Damien demanded the red pills, lots of them. He promised that once he had them, he would disappear forever. But instead of complying, Francis tried to manipulate him. He calmly admitted that he had never told Damien the full truth about the medication. The pills were never meant to keep Damien alive. They were designed to erase the original owner of the body, Mark. Francis explained that if Damien continued taking the pills for one full year, Mark's consciousness, memories, and military instincts would be permanently destroyed, and the body would belong to Damien forever. But if Damien stopped taking the pills for just 1 week, the opposite would happen. Damien's consciousness would die, and Mark would fully return to his own body. The truth crushed Damien. Now he faced an impossible choice: save himself or give Mark his life back. But at that moment, survival came first. Damien forced Francis at gunpoint to leave the room and head toward the lab. Before they could get far, one of Francis's elite enforcers tackled Damien from behind. Francis coldly ordered his man to throw Damien into a car trunk and transport him to the lab. Then Francis calmly returned to his wife's room. Outside, the enforcer dragged Damien toward the vehicle. Just as he was about to shove him into the trunk, Meline suddenly appeared. The distraction gave Damien his opening. He fought back with everything he had, killing Francis's men one by one. But in the end, the last enforcer overpowered him, wrapping his hands around Damien's throat. Damien's vision started to fade. Just as his lungs were about to give out, a gunshot rang through the air. Meline had fired. The bullet grazed the man's ear, sending him crashing to the ground. As Damien caught his breath, he noticed something chilling. A coin necklace hanging from the man's neck, the same lucky coin Anton always wore. Anton wasn't dead. Francis had transferred Anton's consciousness into this new body. The man carried the red pills. Damien grabbed them, pulled Meline and Anna close, and escaped. By now, Meline had seen too much. She demanded the truth. She ordered Damien to stop the car and tell her what was really happening and where he was taking them. Damien couldn't lie anymore. He told her everything about Francis, the deception, the body transfer, and how her husband's body had been stolen. Meline's world collapsed in seconds. She broke down, screaming, telling Damien to get out of her sight. But Damien didn't run. He apologized. He promised her safety first. He swore he would take her and Anna somewhere secure, give them enough money to live peacefully, and then vanish from their lives forever. Eventually, Meline calmed down. Now Damien needed help, and there was only one man he trusted, Martin. He took Meline and Anna to Martin's house and told him the entire truth. At first, Martin thought Damien was a con artist. He had seen Damien die with his own eyes. But Damien reminded him of private moments from their past, stories only the two of them could know. That's when Martin finally believed him. Martin agreed to help. Damien asked him to buy a house on a remote island and arrange a private plane. Martin said he would need some time to set everything up. While hiding at Martin's house, Damien bonded with Anna. He gave her the love and care of a real father. Watching this, Meline slowly began to trust him again. One evening, Damien and Meline were talking when they realized they hadn't seen Anna in a while. As they searched the house, Damien noticed something disturbing. Every mirror in the house was covered. When he finally found Anna, she was playing with a young boy. Damien froze. Martin's son was dead. There was only one explanation. Martin had used the shedding technology to transfer his son's consciousness into another child. Damien pulled Anna away immediately. Now he knew Martin was also Francis's client, and worse, Martin had likely told Francis where Damien was hiding. Gun in hand, Damien confronted Martin. He demanded the truth. Martin admitted everything. He said Francis had forced him. If Martin didn't cooperate, Francis would kill his son. He revealed that he had transferred his son before Damien ever did, and that he had been the one who sent Damien the Phoenix Biogenics business card. Unable to watch his friend die, Martin still believed the bodies were lab-made. Damien shattered that illusion, telling Martin the truth. The child housing his son was a real boy, stolen from another family. Martin collapsed in horror. Guilt tore him apart. Damien took Meline and Anna and prepared to leave, but Martin stopped them. Francis's men were already outside. If they left through the front, they would be killed. Martin suggested a back exit. Damien didn't trust it. Instead, he made a plan. Martin would sneak Meline and Anna out through the back, while Damien would drive out the front to draw attention. Martin agreed and gave Damien a cafe location. "I'll meet you there with Meline and Anna," he said. "I've arranged a truck that will get you out of the city." Damien drove out alone. Outside, Anton was waiting with armed men. Gunfire erupted. Cars screamed down the road. But Mark's military training was still alive inside Damien. Using pure instinct and precision, Damien eliminated Anton's men and forced Anton's vehicle into a brutal crash. The chase ended in flames, but the war wasn't over. Meanwhile, Martin was leading Meline and Anna through the forest, trying to escape using the back route. After a while, he became exhausted and stopped to catch his breath. During that moment, Meline and Anna had already moved ahead. When Meline reached the road, she spotted an approaching car and stepped forward to ask for help. From a distance, Martin shouted for them to stop, but his voice never reached them. Seconds later, men stepped out of the vehicle and grabbed Meline and Anna, forcing them inside. They were Francis's men. Not long after, Damien arrived at the cafe Martin had mentioned and waited anxiously. But when Martin finally showed up, he was alone. The moment Damien realized Meline and Anna weren't with him, panic set in. Martin broke down and confessed that Francis's men had taken them. Damien felt his heart sink. Martin apologized sincerely and handed Damien a few pills along with a handwritten note. He explained that he had always suspected Francis would try to control them, so he had secretly reverse-engineered the medication formula, which was written on the note. Martin begged Damien to forget Meline and Anna and escape to Mexico. He claimed he had contacts there who could produce a full year's supply of the pills, but Damien refused. He couldn't abandon them. Damien knew Francis would have taken Meline and Anna to his secret lab, but neither he nor Martin knew where it was located. Then Martin made a crucial observation. Mark, the original owner of Damien's body, would know the lab's location. Mark had willingly gone there to sell his life for money, and Francis would have shown him the place to earn his trust. That night, Damien and Martin stayed at a motel. Damien intentionally skipped his medication so Mark's memories would surface, and they did. He suffered another seizure, and within Mark's memories, the location of the hidden lab finally revealed itself. At dawn, Damien reached the site, an old building concealing Francis's secret laboratory. He fought his way inside, eliminating Francis's guards one by one until he reached the chamber housing the transfer machine. Inside, Anton lay strapped down beside another body. After the crash, Anton's body was no longer usable, and Francis was transferring him again. Damien moved forward to kill Anton, but suddenly Francis's voice echoed through the room. He was speaking from behind a large pane of glass, watching everything. Damien fired at him, but the glass was bulletproof. Damien demanded to know where Meline and Anna were. Francis smiled and revealed the truth. He had already secured 2 new clients, and Meline and Anna's bodies were meant for them. Damien, once captured, would be killed, and Anton would be transferred into Mark's body. Before Damien could react, 2 armed men rushed in and restrained him. As they grabbed him, Damien noticed an empty bullet shell on the floor. In one swift move, he picked it up and hid it inside his mouth. Moments later, he was shocked unconscious with a taser. Without hesitation, Francis placed Damien into the machine and initiated the transfer process. What Francis didn't know was that the metal bullet shell inside Damien's mouth interfered with the magnetic system, something Francis himself had warned about earlier. When the machine shut down, Anton was dead. Damien was still alive in Mark's body, pretending to be Anton. Damien convinced Francis the process had succeeded. Francis believed him and ordered him back to work. Damien followed Francis's men and asked where Meline and Anna were being held. They led him to a glass-walled room overlooking the machine chamber. The moment he had an opening, Damien killed the guards and freed Meline and Anna. By then, Francis had grown suspicious. He approached the machine and spotted the bullet shell inside. Rage consumed him as he realized the truth. The transfer had failed. Before Francis could act, Damien unleashed a flamethrower through the glass. The fire blasted through, engulfing Francis and destroying both him and the machine. The lab burned to the ground. Damien escaped with Meline and Anna. Martin had already arranged a boat. True to his promise, Damien sent Meline and Anna to a remote island, giving them enough money to live safely and peacefully for the rest of their lives. But by then, Damien had learned a painful truth. Wealth meant nothing without family. One last time, as a stranger, Damien met his own daughter. He gave her a letter, saying it had been left by her father, Damien Hale. In it, he told her how deeply he loved her, how sorry he was for never being there, and how much he regretted choosing power over time with her. Damien accepted his distance, but he refused to steal another man's family. He stopped taking the medication. After 1 week, Damien's consciousness faded forever, and Mark fully returned to his body. Mark woke up as if from a deep sleep, remembering only the moment he had agreed to give his life for money. But Damien had left him a video message explaining everything. Mark rushed to the island where Meline and Anna were living in peace. When they saw him, their broken world finally became whole again.
Finally, the story ends with the narrator thanking the viewers and asking them to like and subscribe to the channel to support his 3 days edit.